Hello and welcome to YearOfHitchcockMovies.com. We are your hosts, Jeff and Diane, and this is movie number 26, Spellbound from 1945. Spellbound, that just sounds good. So with Alfred Hitchcock in England finishing off those two World War II propaganda films that we watched last week, he was looking around for his next movie idea. He knew that David O. Selznick was really interested in psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, because Selznick was actually undergoing psychoanalysis, psychotherapy at the time, I believe to deal with his depression. But so Alfred Hitchcock found a book called The House of Dr. Edwards, published in 1927. And he snapped up the rights to this book because he thought it would make a great movie. And he pitched it to Selznick, who loved the idea of doing a psychotherapy kind of movie. And the rest is history. We've got Spellbound, a movie that was hugely popular, was nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director, which it didn't win for either. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And for the first time, what we have for the first time since Rebecca is Alfred Hitchcock doing a movie produced by David O. Selznick. Because as we've noticed, because they couldn't get along, O. Selznick kept loaning him out to all sorts of different studios. Well, this is movie number 2, which is a Hitchcock-Selznick production. And, well, did they get along? Was it a good marriage? Well, we'll see. But while still in England, once he got the green light to go ahead and start working on this, he used Angus MacPhail, who was involved in writing both of those propaganda films, and eventually will co-write The Wrong Man and coined the phrase MacGuffin. He actually did a treatment. They sort of got some ideas for Spellbound. Not sure how much of that actually makes it into Spellbound, because if I'm not mistaken, the treatment never really showed up. But when Hitch got back to Hollywood, he got Ben Hecht. This is the first of real collaboration with Ben Hecht, and they worked together. Ben Hecht, if you don't know, he was just a tremendous script writer. The Shakespeare of Hollywood, I think, as he was known. This guy wrote something like 70 screenplays. He would just write it up real quick and with huge success. Hitchcock actually joined him in New York, and together they went and visited various psychiatric wards. See, the book was actually the book that Hitchcock purchased. It was about a psychiatrist working in a mental hospital, asylum, and there she and the other doctors are awaiting the new director who's coming in to be their boss. And of course, she and he fall madly in love, but it turns out that this new director, is not who he seems to be. That's what the book is about. So Hitchcock and Ben Hecht took this very seriously, and they wanted to get it right. They wanted to represent this psychoanalysis properly. And like I said, they visited lots of wards. They visited doctors, and they went to Bellevue in New York. And here's where I hope that you can, before watching Spellbound, watch one of the little documentaries that's on the disc. If you have the disc we have, this is the MGM. Can you get close up on this one? This is the disc we have, and one of the documentaries, I think it's about 20 minutes long. It actually really is very worthwhile. It's called Guilt by Association, Psychoanalyzing Spellbound. And what it talks about is how psychoanalysis was actually kind of a new field at the time, because all of the soldiers coming back from World War II that just couldn't get on with their lives and were suffering these mental breakdowns, suffering from what we now know of post-traumatic stress disorder, that this was something that was new. And on this documentary, it is just heartbreaking. You see real footage of this film that was made by someone back then to show some of these soldiers and what they were going through. So very, very new certainly to the movie-going public. And they wanted to get it right. So if you see this documentary, you'll see the seriousness of it, and how with these soldiers, anyways, this treatment was actually making them better. Like I said, this movie was very, very popular at the time. It resonated with audiences, and what the documentary will show, and what we discovered was, although Spellbound has nothing to do with World War II, Spellbound actually has everything to do with World War II. So hopefully you can catch that before you watch Spellbound. So who's in this movie? Well, two big names. It's a Selznick picture, so it's got to have big names. Ingrid Bergman needs no introduction. She was already famous at this point because Casablanca was a couple of years earlier, 3 years earlier. She was nominated for Best Actress this year, 1945, for another movie, The Bells of St. Mary's, and I think she had already won for Gaslight the year before. Does that sound right? 1944? Doesn't matter. So Alfred Hitchcock, this is the first of 3 films that she'll do with Hitchcock. This one, next week's Notorious, and down the road under Capricorn. Alfred Hitchcock loved Ingrid Bergman. Well, literally, he loved her, but he loved working with her, and we'll see what she's all about. And Gregory Peck is in this one, the 2 big stars. He plays, well, Dr. Edwards. So now, he was just sort of starting out his movie career, but it started with a bang. Oscar nominations, successful movies. Spellbound was the 4th movie he did in the 2nd year of his acting career. He did, you know, we'd like him in Roman Holiday, and he's good in To Kill a Mockingbird, so Gregory Peck. Also to look for, Leo G. Carroll, who makes his 3rd of 6 Hitchcock appearances, more appearances than anyone but Claire Greet and Alfred Hitchcock. Look for him. He was also in Rebecca, and he was also in Suspicion briefly. He's got a bigger part in this movie. And also look for Norman Lloyd. He was Fry. He was the bad guy in Saboteur. He's in this one as well. They were great friends, him and Alfred Hitchcock. Also, the music in this. The music, you're going to notice it. The composer Miklos Rosa, he wins the Oscar for the original screenplay for this movie. He did the music for lots and lots of movies. Ben-Hur, he did the music for Double Indemnity, he did the music for The Lost Weekend, which we'll talk about at the end of this movie. Adam's read a bunch of movies. He only works in one movie for Hitchcock, this one. But what you'll notice about it is he uses an instrument called a theremin. If you've not heard of it, that's that creepy woo sound, and it's this Russian-made sort of electronical, violin-sounding electronic device. That forever became the soundtrack of anything eerie, scary, spooky, or creepy in Hollywood and in sci-fi films. So yeah, this is what it looks like, and you bet. So you'll definitely notice that. And finally, the dream sequence in this. Alfred Hitchcock specifically imagined this dream sequence. He wanted Salvador Dali to come in and do the artwork for it. And Dali does get credit for it. He definitely signed, and Dali was very expensive, but Selznick went for it because he knew it would bring great publicity, because Salvador Dali was already very, very famous, and we will see how that turns out. Good, so there's a cameo to look for. Look for it, you gotta be sharp, and yeah, hopefully you can watch the documentary on this beforehand. If you can't, that's okay. We've sort of set it up a little bit, but it's real quick, and the movie's not that long. So good. Let's watch Spellbound, and we'll look forward to talking about it at the end of the movie. So let's watch.